As you probably know only too well, there's no corner of our country completely free from risk of natural disaster. Whether floods, storms, fire, or earthquake, the chances are good that your home may be exposed to devastating risk from time to time. And when disaster strikes, the costs can be immeasurable, not only in the billions of dollars of lost property, but also the tragic loss of life that seems to accompany nearly every major disaster. Although we can't control Mother Nature quite yet, that doesn't mean we can't take steps to protect our financial and physical well-being. As you might expect, the time to take action is now, before there's smoke in the air, the floodwaters are rising, or the earth begins to shake. Over the next few minutes, we invite you to learn more about ways you can protect yourself, your loved ones, and your property. The top of your to-do list should be making sure you have the right insurance protection, because it can make all the difference in your full recovery after a natural disaster. If you own a home, you'll most likely have homeowners insurance that will help you recover some of your losses in the event of a covered disaster. But pay careful attention to your coverage. Make sure it will provide you with the full, current replacement value of your home and its contents. Otherwise, you may find that a full recovery after loss is nearly impossible. Next, take a careful look at what your homeowner's policy actually covers. Most policies don't cover such valuables as collectibles, artwork, or even fine jewelry. Business property and livestock are also excluded from typical policies. You'll need a rider or a special policy to protect you from loss. The same is true with your auto policy, which likely only covers the family cars. You'll need special coverage for boats, motorcycles, recreational vehicles, and trailers, for example. Now that you know what property is protected, take a look at the covered risk and what's not covered. For instance, you'll need a flood insurance policy and an earthquake policy to provide coverage for each of these risks. And you may need a rider to your existing policy to provide coverage for other types of damage. Be sure to regularly update your coverage to reflect any new valuables you've acquired, home improvements you've made, or other issues that may impact your coverage. Lastly, take the time to carefully catalog and inventory all of your property. Take pictures and videos of your home and its furnishings and gather receipts and appraisals of covered valuables. Keeping comprehensive, accurate, and up-to-date records will help you support any future claims you may have to file. The risks you face will naturally depend on where you live, and you may be able to take action now to minimize your losses. Let's take a look at fire prevention, for instance. It's the most common risk of loss in the United States, but the good news is that you can take many precautions to help lower your risk. For instance, create a defensible space around your home by clearing out wood and brush piles, pruning trees, removing flammable materials, keeping your roof and gutters free of dried leaves and litter, and taking other measures to reduce the potential kindling around your home. Install and maintain a smoke detector on every level of your home. It will not only give you early warning if a fire starts, it can also save lives. And make sure every member of your family follows safe practices in the home. That means not leaving burning candles or items on the stove unattended, for example. When it comes to storm safety, there's much you can do to protect life, limb, and property. Well ahead of storm season, check your roof, gutters, and windows to make sure they're in good repair. Consider installing solid, well-made storm shutters. If you live in Tornado Alley, an underground storm shelter is your best bet. Because power outages and the loss of water supply often follow a major storm, make sure you have emergency supplies on hand. That includes fresh water, batteries, snacks, and food that can be prepared without the benefit of electricity. In the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, many families acquired home generators to see them through a prolonged power outage. If you decide to do so, however, make sure you follow proper installation and operation guidelines. Most importantly, make sure the generator is adequately ventilated to prevent the exhaust of toxic fumes into your living space. When the storm is approaching, you may be able to minimize damage by boarding up or taping windows and applying sandbags around doorways. But never forget that there are some occasions when the only safe course of action is to leave for safer ground. If you receive an evacuation order in advance of a storm or major fire, for instance, don't resist. Staying behind will not only endanger your own life, but may also jeopardize the lives of any emergency responders who come to your aid. Remember, property can be replaced, lives cannot. Knowing what you'll do in the event of an emergency provides you and your family with enormous peace of mind. So long before you need it, sit down with your family and develop an emergency plan. Identify your exit routes from your home in the event of a fire. Decide where family members will meet if an evacuation order comes down when you're not all at home, and come up with a plan for how you'll contact each other. Lastly, have an emergency kit ready to go should you need to evacuate your home. What's an emergency kit? It's a readily accessible, complete kit of all your most important papers, documents, and other items that will be essential to you if your home is lost. Among the items to include in your kit are, of course, all your insurance policies, as well as financial documents such as bills of sale, ownership documents, bank records, retirement account information, and tax returns. Personal documents such as passports, birth certificates, school records, marriage licenses, social security cards, and military service records. Estate planning documents such as your wills, trust documents, and powers of attorney. And of course, those cherished family photos, letters, and other personal effects that simply can't be replaced. Although in some cases the original document is required, in other cases a copy will suffice, and one way to make it easier to assemble and transport these essential documents is to create digital records. Scanning important documents and taking digital videos and photos allow you to store all your important records and documentation on a small jump drive. Keep your kit up to date and readily available so you can quickly grab it in an emergency.